I mean, it is just incredible the amount of awards and medals, gold medals. Uh, your list of accomplishments, we've had to whittle down to talk about specific ones. And so I'd like to go to the first one, which was in 1992, the gold medalist at the Women's World Challenger Cup. This was where you threw your first perfect game for Team USA. What was that like for you?
It was incredible. That was my first time wearing the red, white, and blue, so accomplishing that goal of wanting to play and represent our country. So we played in Beijing, China, and that's actually where a lot of the professional Japanese teams saw me. So I threw that perfect game, and it was an amazing experience. And I was like, wow, I really love this. And the first couple times, or the first years, they asked me to come play professionally in Japan. Again, I turned it down because I wanted to go to medical school, but then eventually I did end up going to play professionally in Japan in 1993. Mm-hmm. But yeah, 1992 was special for me that first year, and then also just throwing a perfect game. Your first time ever wearing that uniform was pretty awesome.
Oh my gosh. In 1994, you won a world championship. Can you talk about that?
Absolutely. That was fun because world championships behind the Olympic Games are the biggest events in our sports, and that was up in St. John's, Newfoundland, and traveling up to a part of Canada, but an island, just everything was new. Again, winning a world championship was a huge moment for us, and it was a lot of battles. I remember I threw some very long games against China, and we ended up beating them. And at that time, China was number 2 in the world, and it was battle. But again, wearing red, white, and blue, getting a gold medal put around your neck is something you never forget.
And there's other memories to come, such as in 1996, you were a gold medalist in the Olympic Games in Atlanta, Georgia. Can you tell us how that came about and what that was like?
Yeah, so from 94 to 95, there's the buzz here in the early 90s that we're going to be in the Atlanta Olympics, our sport is, and there's going to be women's soccer, women's softball, like all these sports are now starting to make the Olympic program. So an opportunity to play for Team USA and possibly win an Olympic medal was one of the reasons why I decided not to go to medical school. So I continued to play softball and had the opportunity to make Team USA in 1995 and then the Olympic Games in 1996. It was just a special time. I mean, everything in my life was focused toward making the Olympic team and then trying to win that Olympic gold medal. And it was hard. I mean, it was a lot of sacrifice. It was, never a day off, a lot of work. But I think the thing that I remember the most about the 96 Olympics is that I started looking at the schedule for opening ceremonies, after I'd made the team, and we'd been training in Columbus, Georgia, which is where we actually competed just south of Atlanta. In January, the whole team got together and we basically trained through all the way until the Olympic Games, and it was a grind. But started looking at opening ceremonies. First ever Olympic game. Our first ever Olympic game was against Puerto Rico, and it was on July 21st, 1996. Which is exactly 10 years to the day of that accident when I was told I would never pitch again. So, sometimes when you go through things in life and you don't know why, this is kind of part of my story, that things happen for a reason. Maybe it takes you 10 years to figure out why did I go through this awful traumatic experience, but it taught me a lot and it made me a better person, it made me a better athlete. And there I was 10 years later walking onto the first ever Olympic softball stage, and I felt like that was my first Olympic medal that I won, and then we ended up winning the medal 10 days later.
Oh my goodness. As an Olympian, did you have, I know you said the focus was just incredible, did you have any chance to enjoy Atlanta at all?
When we were done, absolutely. We went up to Hard Rock. Yes, we had one day of some really serious fun after some interviews, a lot of TV shows and daytime TV shows and morning shows, but we had a couple of nights where we were able to let loose for a little bit, which was awesome.
Mm-hmm. I was living there at the time, awesome. And it's wonderful to think about you performing and winning a gold medal right in the middle of that. And then we have, in 1998, we have another world championship.
Yep.
Yeah.
That world championship was special because it was in Fujinomiya, Japan, and so I'd been playing professionally in Japan since 1993, and had a lot of fans, but was also playing against Japan and Australia, who were two teams that were starting to emerge as contenders for that gold medal. But we ended up beating Australia to win our second consecutive in a row world championship medal. But that was special, having it in Japan.
Mm-hmm. And between that time and another incredible event of your life in 2000, another gold medal at the Olympic Games in Sydney, Australia. Talk about that, please.
Yeah, so the Atlanta Olympics were special because it was at home and friends and family and everybody could make it. Australia, we had the opportunity to go represent our country in Olympic Games in another country. And the Australians are fierce, fierce sports fans. And at the time, Australia was ranked second in the world, and it was just going to be a battle. And from the second we stepped foot on the great island of Australia, people knew we were softball players, and they would give us a hard time. I mean, they were very proud of their Australian women, and we battled. It was a tough Olympic Games. We lost 3 games in a row, almost didn't make the medal round. So we lost to Japan, and then China, and then Australia. Squeaked into the medal round, and then we beat China, Australia, and then Japan to win the Olympic gold medal. So it was really a lesson of opportunity, of we lost when we could and we won when we had to. And because we won when we had to, we ended up winning the Olympic gold medal.
Incredible. Did you, when you were there, did you have anyone in your life with you in Australia? Did you have like a friend, anybody from the United States kind of keeping you company? So
my parents came down, I flew them down. My first pitching coach also came down and sat right behind home plate, Betty Zwingraff. That was incredible. We had a lot of U.S. fans. Our team was very well supported. But yeah, that was a special, special trip. But there weren't a lot of, there wasn't a lot of red, white, and blue in the stands, but there was enough to keep us moving in the right direction, even when we stubbed our toe a couple times.
You were noticed.
Yeah.
And then we have another world championship in 2002.
2002 World Championship was actually over in Japan, and no, excuse me, I take that back, I apologize. So the 2002 World Championship was actually in Canada, and we won, so a 3rd consecutive World Championship there. Right after that event, we had a World Cup that was in Japan, and it was actually at that event that I ended up right after retiring, because at that point in my career, I couldn't continue to do both, and I had been playing in Japan, and the U.S. team had wanted me to retire in order to continue to play in the 2004 Olympics, and I didn't want to retire from Japan because playing professionally there, I was on a first-name basis with Mr. Toyota for Toyota Industries Corporation, and I just was like, all right, it's time for me to move on and do something different. So I retired from Team USA, but I continued to play softball.